her oils. But even John the Baptist, which was the priest at that time, didn't anoint him. He bathed him. But he was never anointed by anybody, especially nobody high. Just really taking context what is being said in these scriptures, because they contradict themselves constantly. Like I said before, anything that was said that was true has been said before. You'll find, usually if you have a reference Bible, it'll even tell you where it was said before in the Old Testament, or the Book of Remembrance, whatever you want to call it. Tanakh's pretty much the same thing, but that's just how the Jewish call their Bible. And I know I started on science, history, and religion, but kind of on the same point of Zeus, Jesus. They I forgot my point, but really read it. There are so many contradictions, and almost everything that Paul said contradicts what Hawa said. Almost everything. Well, I'm not going to say it was Paul, because most everything was written after all these people died. Mark was the first book that was actually written, provably, and it wasn't written until at least 155 AD. And all these apostles were supposedly killed for their belief, so they would have died early lives. And it was supposedly an apostle of Paul, but it probably would have been an apostle of Paul, because that man was supposedly burned at the stake. So these people living 70 plus year lives would be kind of interesting to accomplish. But really think about what they're saying to you and trying to tell us that it's true, because they got us so mixed up with these things. The Bible, as it is written, New Testament, only takes a quarter of the Bible. The Book of Remembrance takes 3/4 of it, and it is completely written differently. You know that in the Tanakh, or even the Old Testament, Satan is mentioned 6 times. In the New Testament alone, it is mentioned over 150 times, because Jesus mentioned Satan constantly. You know, there's hell is mentioned like 4 times in the Old Testament. It's mentioned over 150 in the New Testament, because he mentioned stuff like that all the time. Why does he know so much about hell and Satan? If he isn't from these places. He said, I went to prepare a place for you. According to the scripture, where was the first place he went after death? He went to hell. Before he ascended to heaven, it said first he descended, then he ascended. So what did he do? Go down to hell and clear out a place for you, or did he go down there and steal the keys from Satan, from Samael? Why did Samael have the keys to heaven and hell anyway? That doesn't make no sense. And then he gave them to Peter. He didn't give them to his father. He gave them to Peter. And that makes no sense whatsoever. But as always, read, pray, try to get as close to truth as possible. If you don't accept it, that's on you. I mean, Allah gave us all that choice. But I do wish you the best, always. As I always say, Allah Hawa, and may you be blessed.